People have not been able to provide informed consent, and many have been coerced into taking these shots, and the evidence is that, yes, they're risking death by doing it.
We got to go to the College of Physicians and Surgeons because that's who's dictating the regulations and the stipulations for these other offices.
Now, if I speak against a narrative, we're being shut down. And in my 30 plus years of practice, I've never seen that.
There are so many doctors that are afraid of the college and they will not speak their opinion about this.
Drea Humphrey here with Rebel News, standing at 669 Howe Street in front of the BC College for Physicians and Surgeons. Why? Because a 3-hour protest just took place. It was hosted by Stand United, and it featured doctors who are saying that this licensing body behind me has not done their part to protect British Columbians and also to put an end to vaccine mandates and policies that they say are harmful for British Columbians.
How many people need to die and be maimed and permanently disabled and injured before they and Health Canada acknowledge that this is a disastrously failed experiment?
All right, this is James and Marcella with Stand United. Now you guys you put this together. What happened here today in front of the college? Why? Why was it important to have this protest?
Well, I'll tell you what, I went to my doctor's office and he asked me to, well, he didn't, but the receptionist asked me to put a mask on to sit down with 3 people. And it got me thinking, where does this lead to next? Does it lead to, if you're not jabbed, you're not going to get the medical service? And for me, I'm a critical thinker and I've been at this for a long time, so I know where this is going. And it was just like a lightning bolt went off in my head. And I was like, we got to go to the College of Physicians and Surgeons because that's who's dictating the regulations and the stipulations for these other offices, whether you need an x-ray, go to the hospital, go see your grandmother in a care home, any of that kind of stuff. And of course, you can't even go into a care home unless you're actually jabbed and up to date. So it's even worse. I mean, they're separating families, loved ones from people that, they're on their last years of their life, if they even have that long. And at the end of the day, we can't really argue it because they keep saying it's the science. Well, tell me there's science that it can be in a hockey game with 40,000 people all drinking beer, yelling when somebody scores a goal, everybody standing up and hugging and high-fiving, all this other stuff. But in order to be in a doctor's office with 3 people, you have to put the muzzle on. And this is medical tyranny, and that's what it is, Drea.
We have fired people that are competent at their job because they did an informed consent for themselves and they assessed the risk and benefit and decided, I'm not going to get that jab. And we fired them, and that's okay. In Canada, in 2022, there's something wrong. I can only talk in regards to my own hospital, but it's a new hospital that was built about 5 years ago. Within a year, we were running over capacity. Pre-COVID, we were running again at about 120, 125%, and sometimes even 130% over capacity. So this was pre-COVID, so nothing really changed. And something I think is important to know is the stats in BC in terms of ICU beds between 2016 to 2021 is pretty flat, meaning there was not more patients in ICU because of COVID. In medicine, it's about being able to think critically and to be sometimes against a narrative. And as an addiction doctor, I have been against a narrative when doctors were prescribing opiates. I was one of the few doctors that said, this is wrong. We cannot prescribe opiates for young people with back pain. This will create a problem. So I was against a narrative and nobody shut me down. Now, if I speak against a narrative, we're being shut down. And in my 30 plus years of practice, I've never seen that. So I feel I need to speak out.
Thank you for your open letter to Bonnie Henry. That's how we started this.
Well, there is no more important place to have a medical tyranny protest than the College of Physicians and Surgeons. Because the College of Physicians and Surgeons is the one organization who could have and should have stopped this madness.
All right, Dr. Hoffe, good to see you again, as always, on Rebel News.
Thank you, Drea. It's wonderful to see you again.
Now tell us a little bit about what it's like to be a doctor standing and speaking at a protest that's across from your licensing body?
Yeah, that is a good question. I find it very hard to believe that I'm even here. But the reason why I'm here is that this COVID vax rollout has been a medical disaster. It has caused more harm than any other medical intervention in history. The reason why we're here outside the college is because the college is and should have been the one organization that should have stopped this madness, because they are supposed to be the guardians of the safe practice of medicine. And the fact that they have forced people to have this shot with completely unknown long-term side effects is a travesty of the Hippocratic Oath. This has killed and maimed more people than any other medical intervention in history. And the fact that they continue, and the college has fired people that work for it, even though most of them work from home, they fired their own employees who refused to be vaxxed. So they are complicit in this, and one of the worst things is these shots have not stopped people getting COVID, and they haven't stopped people dying of COVID. In fact, they have made it all worse. It's been shown all across the world that the more shots you get, the more likely you'll die of COVID. There are so many doctors that are afraid of the college, and they will not speak their opinion about this. So back in February of this year, the college issued a citation against me that a disciplinary committee was going to be appointed. And they never told me, they never told my lawyer, they sent it to the news media across Canada that I was going to be disciplined. So this was clearly a warning to every doctor across Canada: do not do what Dr. Hoffe has done, because you will be disciplined. So after I sent my letter to Dr. Bonnie Henry in beginning of April 2021, I sent her an open letter telling her about all the neurological problems that I was seeing in my patients, and asking her what I should be doing about them, and asking her, so what happened and how do I treat this? I'm these people's doctor. How do I treat this? And so she referred the matter to a vaccine safety specialist who assured me that this was not from the vaxxers. At that point, I had 6 people with neurological injuries in my little country practice, and so 85% got their symptoms within 3 days of their shot. But they were emphatic that this is not from the shot. These shots do not cause neurological injuries. Moderna and Pfizer had assured them that doesn't happen. Well, we know how honest Pfizer is. I think they hold the record for the biggest fine ever for scientific fraud and dishonesty. So they're a convicted criminal. So normally anybody with half a brain would not believe a convicted criminal. I mean, they've proven themselves to be dishonest. So if we still believe them, we're a bit naive. Anyway, they believed them and just denied. So this vaccine safety specialist was a vaccine injury denier.
The college was in the ideal position to prevent this from happening, to unleash the doctors that were able to speak out and tell the truth about the COVID shots. In fact, all the public health issues or policies that were brought forward. Masking, distancing, lockdowns, hand sanitizers. Doctors were in an ideal position to do this, but because of the oversight by the college and the threat to each doctor that spoke out, the public did not have the leaders that they should have had during this time.
Many doctors have been attacked by the college, investigated for things such as practicing integrative therapies, and now we've sort of been attacked by the college and put under investigation for speaking up against public health policies, which the research clearly shows, certainly now it does, and even a year ago it showed this, that these public health policies are not for the good health of British Columbians. So, but now we're out here actually coming after the college. And someone today even asked that the registrar, Dr. Otter, resign because they have not fulfilled their mandate, which is to protect the public. That's their only mandate, and they haven't fulfilled it. And instead, they're spending lots of money and challenging and making life miserable for those doctors that are independent thinkers and are trying to protect their patients. People should not be forced to take an experimental vaccine, not really a vaccine, experimental shot, from which death is one of the adverse events. and people should have a choice there. And people have not been able to provide informed consent, and many have been coerced into taking these shots. And the evidence is that, yes, they're risking death by doing it. It is definitely a case of Russian roulette, and where we're just spinning the chambers. And I think there's more than one bullet in that 6-gun.
Well, couldn't fit everything into one report. That's why coming soon, we're going to talk to these doctors about what they think about giving the Moderna vaccine to children as young as 6 months old. And if you appreciate that at Rebel News, we've been giving a voice to doctors just like the ones you saw today, who simply give their medical opinions that differ from the state's. Then you might want to consider supporting our independent journalism so we can continue to bring you the other side of the story to the legacy media. You can do so by donating at rebelnews.com/donate. Thank you so much.